Hi, in this episode of Redneck 101, we're talking about how to shoot IDPA matches. And these are matches that are run by the International Defensive Pistol Association. And the goal here is to improve our defensive pistol skills. Now, as a firearms trainer, I emphasize the first rule of gunfights. And it's not, in my mind, it's not to bring a gun. The first rule of gunfights is that you win every gunfight you avoid. And the three best ways to avoid gunfights are don't go to stupid places, don't hang out with stupid people, and don't do stupid things. The Bible says, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone.
There is a Redeemer, Jesus, God's own Son. Precious Lamb of God, Messiah, Holy One.
IDPA can be a productive part of defensive skill development. It should come after some introductory training in basic firearm safety and intro marksmanship. Having been an NRA instructor, I like the NRA Basic Pistol and Personal Protection courses. The NRA Marksmanship Qualification Program is also very good. IDPA is my favorite action pistol discipline for defensive skill development, since the rules are simpler and the scenarios are more realistic than the other options. But most shooters would benefit from shooting their carry pistols in 2 or 3 additional action shooting sports, such as Steel Challenge. Steel Challenge has the benefit of instant feedback. Ping, 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 and when there's no ping, you know you missed. You need to take some corrective action and send another one. There's some time pressure. Steel Challenge affords the opportunity to do a lot of shooting in a day. Typical Steel Challenge matches are between 150 and 200 rounds. Steel Challenge is also one of the action pistol disciplines, one of the few ones that allows you to shoot a .22 LR. Now, the first 1,000 rounds of pistol practice you do in a year should probably be with your carry gun, or you should have a habit where you're shooting your carry gun 1,000 rounds a year. But that pistol ammo can get a little expensive sometimes. So additional practice with a .22 LR can be very valuable, and Steel Challenge allows you to shoot that event with a .22 LR. I recommend a .22 pistol with the same grip angle and a very similar trigger to your carry pistol. USPSA is another popular action pistol discipline. There's a lot of moving in USPSA. There's more targets on each stage. It's more of a game. There's lots of magazine changes. A lot of people shoot, how shall we say, specialized pistols in this discipline rather than shooting their carry pistol, which I believe is not the best for skill development. There's a discipline called action pistol, and there's both NRA version of this as well as unsanctioned action pistol matches. There are bowling pin matches where you just shoot bowling pins off a table or off of a stand. These can be a lot of fun. There's instant feedback, there's time pressure. What I don't prefer so much about bowling pin matches is in the whole match, you might go to the line 3 to 5 times, and each time you're at the line, you're only knocking 5 bowling pins off a table. So the whole match only includes 15 to 25 targets in a typical bowling pin match. If I'm going to go all the way to the range, I recommend a little more shooting than that. There's also a discipline called 3-gun, which includes rifle, pistol, and shotgun. You'll learn a lot from that, and you'll learn some of the trade-offs, both in how to deploy them, how to use them, how to hit with them, with the pistol, the shotgun, and the rifle. It's nice from that point of view. There's another discipline called tactical rifle. It focuses on semi-automatic rifles in defensive context, and often includes some pistol or some shotgun and/or some shotgun as well. Okay, the goal in the approach to IDPA should be focused on developing real-life skills rather than winning a game. So don't worry about how you're comparing with other competitors, but worry about how you're improving. And IDPA has five classifications: novice, marksman, sharpshooter, expert, and master. And as you shoot more, as you move up in those classifications, it's like an independent assessment of your defensive pistol skills, at least as they're coming into play in this discipline. And so what I recommend is that if you achieve a classification in the upper half of what's possible in 3 or more different action pistol disciplines, that probably prepares you better for most real-life force encounters than a focus on winning matches or the highest classification in a single discipline. It's kind of like getting a B or C in several classes in a challenging subject, rather than getting an A in one class and not even taking the others. Consequently, the focus of this video is to help you get started shooting IDPA rather than teaching you how to win it. Every discipline has lots of rules, and I do recommend you read the IDPA rule book to understand these rules before you start. The folks running IDPA matches are also very friendly and helpful. Okay, in the videos that are to come, the day I shot the videos, all the IDPA stages at the match that day were classifiers at a local club. And one of the things I like about IDPA is that in most matches, you're using a cover garment for most of the stages. But those videos aren't available because they weren't running those stages the day the videos were made. So you're not going to see any cover garments in the videos. But a lot of IDPA stages do require cover garments. Now, I don't recommend you use something different from what you would normally use for your concealed carry setup. And a lot of men I know, and what I tend to recommend is fishing shirts, Hawaiian type shirts, or in the cooler months, a jacket something like what I have on now. So I do recommend training how you're going to fight. And if this is the kind of garment, and this is a great garment for concealed carry, that's what you practice with when you shoot your IDPA matches. Okay, so without further ado, let's switch our approach to narrating the action at some actual IDPA matches. Okay, so the shooter stands in, he's already got his gun loaded, goes beep, he starts to engage the targets downrange. There's a specified course of fire that he's following. The stage briefing has explained what the course of fire is, how many shots he takes at which target, where he needs to stand when he's taking those shots, and so on. And he just follows those instructions and goes through it. The guy with the timer is the gentleman in the red shirt in this video. And the guy with the timer is always what's called the range officer or the range safety officer. So the shooter needs to key in and very carefully follow his instructions, because you can't load the gun until he tells you to load the gun. He says load, or load and make ready, or make ready. The commands vary a little bit by the discipline and sometimes by the range officer. If in doubt, just ask and don't load the gun until he tells you that it's okay to load the gun. And then he kind of helps you, follows you around with the timer, reminds you of some instructions. Sometimes in this kind of thing, he'll ask you if you're ready before he sets off the beep and the timer starts. And now downrange, we mark the holes in the targets. They get scored first, and then after the targets are all scored, the other shooters go downrange and apply the pasters to cover up all the holes that were just made in the target, so the next shooter starts with a fresh target. Okay, so got a different shooter now standing in. He's asking if he's ready. He explains, well, actually at this point he's just being told to load and make ready. So he puts the magazine in, cycles the action, turns the safety on if there is one, puts the pistol back in the holster, and awaits the command, the beep that tells him it's okay to start shooting. He gets the beep, he engages the targets, and notice he's engaging them there right to left, and that's called slicing the pie. As the shooter peeks from around cover, it's a rule in the IDPA to engage the targets first that you see as you're moving out from cover. It's called slicing the pie. So if the targets are to the right of the cover, you engage them right to left. In contrast, if you're shooting around the left side of cover, you engage the targets left to right to properly slice the pie. And once that shooter's completed the course of fire for that given stage, the range officer goes down range to score the target. Once the targets are scored, the other shooters or other volunteers who might be there help out by putting the pasters in place. This is just another shooter shooting the same stage, going over it again, because in real time it happens real fast once you step in there. And so the shooter engages the targets when the timer goes beep, and this shooter chooses to go to the right barrel first and engage the target secondarily from the barrels that are serving as cover on the right rather than on the left. In this case, the stage brief made it the shooter's choice which set of barrels to go up to first to continue shooting after the targets were engaged from the barrels that were serving as cover a little bit further away. Getting some clarification on the course of fire and on the instructions here. So if in doubt, ask some questions. Safety is paramount through the process, but sometimes there are questions as to the rules. You know, how many cartridges can be in the magazine, what happens next. There's plenty of time off the clock to clarify anything that you're unclear about. And these range officers, they're very polite, they're very kind, they'll answer your questions. So when the timer beeps, everybody kind of has an expectation, knows what to do. So you see this shooter slicing the pie, rightmost target, center target, leftmost target, and then the instruction was to do the magazine change before leaving cover. So what you'll see here is when the timer goes beep, he'll engage the targets right to left, slicing the pie. Then he'll stay behind cover, do his magazine change. After he completes the magazine change, he moves to the other barrels and then slices the pie in the other direction, now left to right, since he's shooting around the left side of the cover. And some shooters are faster than others, and shooters like to be fast, but in the early stages, accuracy is really more important. You can't miss fast enough to do well in IDPA, and just like you can't miss fast enough to help your situation if you happen to be in a real deadly force encounter. So in addition to using cover properly, moving, thinking about lots of things, the IDPA discipline, and one of the things I like about it a lot is it enforces accuracy. Steady sight picture, gentle trigger squeeze, and if you do that accurately, speed will come in time and with practice. So don't be worried if your first crack at this new discipline if you're not as fast as some of the videos that you see. You want to be accurate. And the penalty is essentially they add 1 second to your time for every dropped point. And a clean miss is 5 dropped points. So that's 5 seconds. So if it only takes another half a second to align the sights, get a steadier sight picture for that gentle trigger squeeze, then it's advantageous to take the extra time. Just like in a real deadly force encounter, you can't miss fast enough to help your outcome in the deadly force encounter. So this is a little different stage here. It's another classifier. This one does not specify the use of cover. It's just about turning around, hitting the targets as quickly as you can. And in this one, you'll notice this shooter is cycling his slide a lot because he's got a bad match of his ammunition with his carry pistol. He didn't test his carry pistol's functionality with the ammunition beforehand, but better to find out the mismatch at a friendly IDPA match where nobody's shooting back than to find out that the chosen ammunition is not functioning well in the carry pistol in a real deadly force encounter. Alright, so now we have another shooter, steps in, goes beep. The instructions are to shoot each target twice in the body. Then the second time through is actually going for headshot. So 2 to the body, each of the 3 targets left to right, and then 2 to the head, each of the 3 targets left to right, is what this shooter was trying to accomplish. And the way the IDPA targets are scored, and we'll see it more clearly in a few minutes, is that there's a central region in both the body and the head that's 0 dropped points. Then there's a little outer region in both the body and the head that's 1 dropped point, or 1 second added to your time. And then on the body, but not the head, there's another outer region even further away from the vitals that's 3 drop points. So as you go through this stage, the later part of it here specifies some practice with the strong hand only, and it specifies some practice with the weak hand only. Okay, so this view is more what the shooter sees when he steps in and is firing the pistol. And so you see the sights, you see the target, you don't see a lot of the other things that are going on, but you do see with the headshots here, the shooters take a little more time and a little more care to get that steady sight picture, gentle trigger squeeze when going for the headshots. Now this is the body shots, right hand only with the shooter, and then what we're going to see here is the body shots, left hand only. And these are things because in a real deadly force encounter, one of your hands might be disabled, or one of your hands might be pushing a shooter away. Important stuff. Okay, so now we see close-up of the target and how it's scored, and this target was what we call 0 dropped points. The 2 shots to the head are in the center scoring region, so no points got dropped from the head. The 6 shots in the body are also in the center scoring region, so there were no dropped points in the body as well. And so you can see, though, if that little dotted line in both the head and the body, if you were just outside the dotted line, that would be 1 dropped point, or 1 second added to your time for each shot that was just outside the central scoring region. And then on the periphery of the body, I don't know how well you can make it out on the video, but if you get closer to the edge of the body, then it's 3 drop points for each shot in that region, or 3 seconds added to your time. And then if you miss completely, that's 5 seconds added to your time. So we try to avoid missing completely.
And now be ready. Stand by. Reload. Stand. I shoot. I got shoot 6 more here. You can always remember if you're on reload to the right side of your own. Stand by.
I tremble at the thought of Judgment Day. Lord, I am not ready. Please don't return just yet, for all my sins are and put away. my cross is on the floor, and I would burn.